right, guys, here we are at the We Make Supplements podcast. This is episode 3?
4, 5.
This isn't Star Wars, man. This is episode 3.
Da-da-da.
Today, we have Mike Scuillo joining us again.
Hey.
And we have Devenee Schumacher.
Hi everyone.
For those of you who don't know, Devenee is the D in SDC and one of the founders. Speaking of which, Dev, I know your story is really special as to how SDC started. Why don't you tell us, the whole history in like a nutshell?
Sure.
No pressure.
the 30-second version. So, Sean and I met and, we were kind of like gym rats together a little bit. And we decided, to create some great products because nothing was available on the market. My background was I was a chef. I started making us some meal bars. He had the clients to sell them to, and we were selling about 600 bars a week.
You were a chef.
I was a chef.
Did you cook for anyone famous?
Absolutely. I've cooked for President George W. Bush. I've cooked for
W.
I've cooked for Dick Cheney, Mario Lemieux. Plenty of athletes that come through Pittsburgh. I spent a lot of time at the Duquesne Club downtown Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, that place is famous.
Oh, it's very famous.
Nice.
It's a really, really interesting. It's a really interesting place. And honestly, they roasted me there once at an event. SDC won, we won an award for fastest growing company. And the events are always held there. And when they called me, I was just at a very serious question because I had never been in the building or toured the building other than where I was as an employee. And I said, to the guy, I was like, well, where do I go to go into this? Like, I was an employee there. Like, I used to go in through the alley entrance. Like, where do I go? And they spoke to the editor of the Pittsburgh Business Times, and he told him, our conversation. And in front of all of the guests, and I had no idea this was coming, he completely told that story in such a great way. And it just showed, like, here's this girl who used to work here, right? And now she's got the fastest growing company in this Tri-City network. And
You can have dreams too.
Right. And it was just, that 5 seconds of like overwhelming embarrassment and,
Oh boy.
and how silly, but it's a great story, right? It's just a great story.
They got you ready for working at SDC. 'Cause I have 5 seconds of embarrassment every single day that I walk in this building.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyways, that's kind of a little bit about us. So we started off with meal bars. We quickly got into protein powders, and we went after a female demographic because no one was doing it back then. It was in 2008, 2009. GNC was very different looking than it is now. Health and wellness in that female sector just wasn't around. And, so we were one of the first brands to be stevia sweetened, gluten-free, non-GMO, and pointing out all of those things that can be a family type of product for kids, for parents, for anyone in between, elderly, that just wasn't available. So we kind of just shot out from the dark, and now here we are.
So you guys started manufacturing right from the gate?
No, absolutely not. So,
Ooh, there's a story here.
Oh, there's a big story here. All right. Everyone listen up. Okay, so we found a manufacturer. We called a few people around. We had people make us samples. The first manufacturer that we chose and forked over all those thousands of dollars to.
Here we go.
Right?
Who was it?
Oh, I just don't think I want to put them under the bus.
Oh.
I mean, they're worth it, but...
Put them on the bus. Don't be shy.
No, I'll think about it. So...
She'll think about it.
Think about it.
We have an NDA, Dev. It's okay. No one's going to hear this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So
This is completely private.
I know it's completely private. So anyways,
Some company that we won't name.
right?
Okay.
Some company we won't name. So so they sent us samples and we really liked them. We placed our order and We got our first order, we got our second order. Every time you'd call there and say, hey, can you cut me a deal on the price? They would say, yeah, sure, I'll give you $1 off. And, and then all of a sudden the product started coming in. The bottle was a little bit less empty or a little bit less full, or it was a different color or a different texture, maybe a little bit of a different taste. And we were like, what's going on here, right?
Is this like pre-2007?
No, this was in 2009.
So this is
right?
after CFR 111 came smashing down.
Yes. So this was happening all of 2009. And, we got our first real store to pick us up in March of 2009. And, so then we started third-party testing. We came around. We're learning this whole industry, third-party testing, to find out our product had 60% protein, and we're selling it as a whey isolate.
Wait, what does that mean?
So
Are you serious?
Yes. So a whey isolate, layman's terms is it has to be at least 90% whey protein isolate to be considered a WPI. Usually up to 94%, that kind of thing. So
what would cause the percentage to change?
They weren't using whey isolate.
What were they using?
Maltodextrin. Right? So
Stop.
I know what company
Really?
you're talking about.
right, you do. So they were cutting the product with maltodextrin. On top of that, it wasn't gluten-free. They weren't using natural sweeteners. They were using artificial colors and artificial flavors. And everything that our label was, the product wasn't. And it was really just a scary, scary time.
So what made you test it? Just seeing abnormalities?
Abnormalities. And it was the bottle being a little bit less full. When you call someone and say, hey, can you give me $1 off? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like there's reasons like they're
we got room to move in this one, buddy.
Right. So what happened is, once we found out, literally like the game plan of what do we do? Like, you're going to crush my business before I even get it off the ground running. And we quickly, started finding a new manufacturer. In the meantime, finding that second manufacturer, Sean, my business partner, Sean, started raising money with some local angels for us to open up our own manufacturing plant. It took us about a year, right, for that process to happen. But within that year of us building our plant, we went to a second manufacturer. They were making fraudulent product, just like manufacturer number one.
Oh my God!
Right? We went to a third manufacturer.
No, don't even say it.
I'm saying it. It's true.
Again?
They literally were making fraudulent product.
So were these manufacturers all here in Pittsburgh, or were they?
No, they're throughout the country.
Oh boy!
And that's probably why Sean and I are so extreme on everything leaving our facility as perfect as possible. We just truly believe our names are stamped on every bottle. You may not see it, right?
Yeah.
But that's what our drive is. It's what we want. We want to sell quality. We want to sell service. We want to sell the best products, because I never want anyone to feel like I felt the first time, the second time, or the third time that I got to learn that I have zero trust in other manufacturers
It's very
out there.
defeating, right?
Like, you have no idea. To sit back and, I gave up my career. I lived off of my savings, and to have someone take, this dream that I had and to literally want to dump it in the toilet, before it even got off the ground running, and to have no care or concern about it at all.
What did you do with the product?
So we quietly pulled the product off the market, right? Because I didn't want anyone buying it. Here's what's really crazy all the whole time. So at that time, whey was also going through a skyrocketing phase.
Yeah, right. I remember that.
Whey isolate was like $3.65 a pound at that point for us small people buying, right?
Sounds cheap.
And
now.
it was, right? And it literally, within that year of us opening up our plant, all of this fraudulent stuff happening, then the whey isolate market went crazy. And at one point, they were selling it for $11 a pound. $11 a pound.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was an insane.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, just drink milk instead.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an insane market at that point, right? So we're pulling product off the market. We're trying to raise money to do this manufacturing plant. We're trying to figure out a game plan of how to continue to sell our product at the price that we are selling it when we have like this quadrupling, product cost on our end happening. And it was enough to drive someone to drink. I mean, we may have finished a few bottles of wine within that year.
You think?
Okay,
Right?
so you had a crazy rocky start.
Yes.
Okay. What was the turning point where you're like, okay, now I'm finally comfortable and SDC has turned a new corner, right? And we have found the solution to the whole market need.
Yeah, so that was March of 2011. We opened up our manufacturing plant, and at that point, Sean and I both looked at each other and said, we promise each other every bottle that leaves this facility will be pristine. Everything in the bottle will be what it's supposed to be, and nothing will ever leave here unscathed. So, and that's that. So, and we've been very successful at being one of the top quality manufacturers in the country.
So, Mike,
Yeah.
let's hear from you on a question I think is pretty straightforward, right?
Okay.
I mean, that story's crazy, right?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Why do you think more people don't know that manufacturers back then, and maybe even some now?
Honestly, I think dietary supplement manufacturing we're still in its infancy. It was the Wild West just before 2007. I mean, you could literally do it in your basement, in a garage, in a bathtub, and
in the bathtub.
And I guarantee you they were selling supplements out of GNC that way. I know for a fact that a lot of that happened. And then when everyone had to go and become a CGMP compliant facility, kind of separated the men from the boys. And unfortunately, Devenee and Sean had to contend with a lot of those guys fought that. In fact, I think on the last podcast I talked about ATF Fitness Products. I used to work there, and I have no problem calling out that guy. I walked into that facility one day, and he had just stacks. I mean, there were just, from as far as I could see to the back of the warehouse, just red rice. And he was just filling capsules with red rice and selling it as whatever he wanted.
No way.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, I mean, this happened, and people, they were just, you know what I mean? I don't understand. It was just paperwork. You just had to have someone smart enough to read the book. I mean, we all learned how to read in kindergarten, or
I mean, it's really the reason why you should call call the number on the bottle and just ask some questions, or see if they answer the phone. If they answer the phone, because manufacturer number one, as they continue to do this, and those people are still in business.
Oh yeah,
because they shut down, they open up, they shut down, they open up. And
different names. The shysters cook the books. They're good at it.
Absolutely, they're very, because they make so much money. Encore, they make so much money.
Oh yeah,
it's hand over. Maltodextrin is how much per pound? 70 cents a pound.
70 cents
right?
a pound.
Let's compare that.
What is maltodextrin?
Let's compare that to whey isolate. And so when you're filling 2-pound tubs with maltodextrin and you keep cutting and cutting and cutting, at one point they were making product and it had 20% protein, right? 20% protein.
That's terrible.
Because we knew other people that were buying from them. So their greed takes over, and that it's money hand over fist.
All right, so there was this like trending phrase that I remember, amino spiking. Right?
Oh,
Is that different from what you're talking about now?
Yeah, it's a little different. So adding straight maltodextrin is just, that's just terrible. Amino spiking was like a way for the people that thought they were going to get away. Oh, I found a neat way to cut the cost. So what they would do is, because protein is a chain full of amino acids, so what they would do is they would take the cheapest amino acid in the chain, like, alanine or something like that, and they dump 10 grams of alanine into the mix per serving, and then they're like, oh cool, we can put 10 grams of regular protein in, 10 grams of alanine, say it's 20 grams of protein, because the amino acids equal 20 grams per serving.
Oh,
so they're spiking that one particular amino acid, hence the name, and put it on the labels, 20 grams. But you're not really getting 20 grams of protein. Not really.
So if it got tested, it would probably be 50%.
Well, they called it spiking because they would test the amino chain, and you'd get one of those little line graphs you used to see, and the one would go pew, spike right up in the air, and you'd see it right off the page. Oh, they clearly dumped a bunch of whatever ingredient into there. So it
still read as 20 grams of protein
sure.
on a test.
Oh,
but
yeah.
when you look at the results, you're just like, this isn't what the body needs.
It was like it was a way to cheat a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's
whereas our way, the customers were just cheated.
I mean, I don't know any manufacturers that's doing it the right way. They're not driving around in Lamborghinis.
Do we really think it's just the manufacturers' greed driving these types of decisions, or do you think it's a customer issue?
It's definitely a customer issue as well. So, definitely there's customers out there who have that greed bug as well, and they will blatantly ask their manufacturer, will you do this, will you do that? Yeah. And it's up to the manufacturer if they have any morals or not.
Wait, stop. So you're telling me that there's customers that'll ask the manufacturer to lie?
Yes.
In the product, in the formula?
Yes.
Oh, definitely. I used to have to...
Wait, hold on. So I'm having a hard time understanding this, right? Because at my last company, we had like SOPs and all these things just to make sure we were doing everything right.
That's after CFR 111. After this happened, all of these guys that were doing this stuff, they were scrambling. It looked like pouring water down an anthill. They were like running around trying to figure out how to fix the glitch.
So
how can we keep doing this?
Is this like a situation where a client has an overstock of a label that's wrong, or like flat out like, hey, I want the label to say this.
Oh, no.
I'm only going to pay you $11 a bottle, and to make this price work, you're going to do X, Y, and Z.
Like, hey, our price point's always been $7, but now that weighs $9 a pound, and so it's going to be, what can we do?
Right.
They lead in with what can we do to get that $7 cost.
So we're going to dump a bunch of maltodextrin into this. Yeah. We're going to keep our price at $7, and you're just going to leave the label the same, Mike. We don't want you to change it at all.
Yeah, I mean, so what they're really doing is trying to get into the manufacturer's head, so they can almost fall back on the manufacturer and say, my manufacturer did this, it wasn't us. So it's almost like they think that they're going to be able to pass the buck, so to speak. So it really comes down to, is your manufacturer, is it moralistic or not? And unfortunately, we won't entertain that. SDC Nutrition will never entertain any sort of question of that nature.
Okay, so I remember I was at a manufacturer's office, and they were complaining about this one customer who will never label at the manufacturing facility. Mm-hmm. So the manufacturing facility would make the product, right, and then ship it unlabeled to the customer, at wherever their location was within the country. And the explanation that they gave was that this was getting shipped internationally or some nonsense like that, right? Mm-hmm. And I was asking the manufacturer, why would you do this? First of all, what do you guys think was really happening?
They're putting a label on there with either claims or different ingredients or a different product name. Yeah. This day and age, no one's getting labels for some astronomical different price that's saving them thousands of dollars, causing them to label it on their own. Usually if something like that's going on, I seem to question that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're not the right guy to answer the question as far as like what loopholes you can get through to ship unlabeled containers. It's probably
the best label designer in the entire country, are not the right person to ask.
No. I'm not talking about the actual labeling that goes onto a container. I'm talking about the manufacturing process. The end of the manufacturing process, how can you actually ship a container of product that has no label on it? Yeah. I don't know the loophole there or whatever, but I know I've seen it done. Yeah. And basically, the customer is always, every single time they get there. We had a customer that was trying to do that. They had a couple stores up north, and they made the news.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
All right, so I think we've shed a good amount of light on some craziness that is kind of going on.
Yeah.
Earlier in the 2000s. Yeah. Let's talk about something more recent.
Okay.
Right, as we finish off the podcast, this will be the last topic, and the question is going to be like, what's going on in products and product development right now? I mean, I see Dev, you're in the lab doing all sorts of crazy product development back there. Like, what is it that you're working on?
You have had your lab coat on for like 3 days straight. What's up with this?
I've been spending a lot of time in the lab. So, our business is growing on the contract manufacturing side, which is great, right?
Yes.
And I love to see all the innovative things that are coming out. So we've got lots and lots of new pancakes that are coming for some customers. We've got, I know,
that
right?
is such good news to me.
I know. One of my favorites is the s'mores, pancake with actual marshmallows and chocolate.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yeah.
Did you just say s'mores pancake?
I did, with real marshmallows.
Look how happy I am.
I know.
Is it
It's
gluten-free?
ridiculous. I can't even look.
It is not gluten-free.
There's real graham crackers?
There's real graham crackers in there, real chocolate chips, real marshmallows.
That's good for you.
Packing 8 grams of protein per serving. So really, really good stuff.
So we can call this a meal replacement.
Absolutely.
Delicious.
After gym workout.
Mike, you can't eat your own supply. Okay? Didn't Narcos teach you anything? You can cut your supply, right? But you can't eat your own supply.
Keep me out of the back.
Yeah. So other than that, we're on a keto explosion.
Okay.
Really excited. I get to present a line to a great customer. We're going to develop an entire keto line for them, ranging from proteins to coffees to greens to energy drinks and a few little special things in between. And capsules, some really interesting nootropic type capsules coming out.
Yeah, I noticed there's been a lot of those coming across my plate lately.
Yes.
A lot of nootropics.
Nootropics, absolutely. Yeah.
I like that.
I'm trying to go on vacation. I want to go on vacation.
All right. Well, I mean, that's awesome news. I'm going to need to try these s'mores pancakes like ASAP.
I know, right?
So,
I know.
I mean, that's like kind of the only thing I can think of. I should have had me at s'mores.
What are you doing as far as flavors for AT? Anything?
Well, other than the new keto things coming out, I am wide open for suggestions.
Okay.
The last couple years, we really launched a lot of new flavors across the brand and some exciting things. And I would love to hear from the fans a little bit on what they're looking for. The natural world has so many more possibilities day in and day out. So we can do some fun stuff like Lucky Charms and, what is the Fruity Pebbles and all of those kinds of things in a natural way. So I'd love to hear what our fans would be looking forward to.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you said cereals, but that's like that kind of like brings me back to my old childhood days,
Yeah.
When you're going down the cereal aisle, like,
The Cocoa Puffs.
whoa.
Captain
Cocoa
Crunch.
Puffs were, yeah. Yeah, those are, you know what I'm saying? Any of those would be a good call.
I think a cereal bar in every household would be awesome.
I think I'd really like to design something that would make me want to eat everything in my sight for like 2 days straight.
Everything you design makes me want to eat everything in sight for 2 days.
Imagine me staring at it. You see it for you're like, oh, okay, great, cool, let's look it over, great. I look at it for like 2 hours or 3 hours, and I'm just like, oh,
drooling.
Then I go to lunch, and everyone's like, why did you eat 3 of those?
All right, well, guys, that's the end of this episode. And you heard it from Devenee. Let us know some flavor suggestions you want her to work on in the lab, and she will make them for us to try.
Be kind, folks. I have to design those things.
So don't ask for anything crazy.
No.
I want all the
crazier,
crazy.
the better. Bring it on.
All right.